Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Honored to be connecting in with you on the author's journey, where we get to talk with amazing best-selling authors that have successfully brought their book forward in such a way that it has been received as a bestseller. So we get to pull back the curtain, have candid conversations, and really learn what their journey was like and how they discovered their message and elected to bring it forward. And today, I'm so honored to have a professional, amazing storyteller who has learned how to help others tell their stories in powerful ways that make connection and impact and create these powerful movies and visions in people's minds. So creates these amazing connections. So we have so much we're going to get to learn from our amazing guest today. As we lean in with anticipation and get excited for the conversation, I want to invite everyone to just take a moment and breathe. Take a deep breath. Get ready for our conversation because I know we have great gems for you today to support you on your journey, to help you reach people in a powerful and deeply impactful way. So by becoming present, taking that breath, it helps you be open and present and ready to receive everything that is here for you. Extra credit bonus opportunity for those of you who like extra credit. I know I like extra credit and gold stars. I encourage you to get a piece of paper or notepad ready and a writing utensil, pen, whatever way you like to capture information. This is a great time for you to be poured into and to listen for those things that can help you on your journey, whether it's sharing your message in a verbal way with your voice, or perhaps it's sharing your message in writing. There are going to be some great tips and tools to support you today. So make sure to have that paper and pen ready so you can capture those ideas and insights as they're shared with you, or they bubble up within you, or something sparks as you lean in. So welcome, everybody. Thrilled to have you joining us. And I'm excited to introduce our amazing guest, Melissa Reaves. She is a #1 international best-selling author, executive storytelling mentor, and founder of Story Fruition. She's had a robust 20-plus year career in corporate ad technology, including working with companies like Oracle. In 2019, she discovered storytelling that combines her professional acting and improv skills with her corporate experience. And now she gets to help corporate executives and leaders connect, shine, and share powerfully and effectively. She is passionate about helping you connect and shine. Please lean in and warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic Melissa Reaves to the show. Welcome.
Oh, yay!
Yay!
Oh, Rebecca, that was so nice. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you joining us. And I know after you've released a book, it's an especially busy time. And so I just so busy.
Yeah.
And I'm so honored to have you carve out some time for us to have this conversation while everything is fresh and being released out into the world. So I deeply appreciate that. And I'd like to start
my
with...
pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to have you share, why is this work personally so important to you, really helping people around their storytelling skills and speaking skills? Why does that work matter to you? Why is that important to you?
Storytelling, as I say, is an essential business skill. And most of us aren't very good at it, including way back in the day before I really discovered the art form of storytelling. I had studied it as an actor as a child, but like all through my corporate career, we would basically, overwhelm the audience with too much data on a slide or just talk at people and not really connect with them. And in order to really shine as a leader, when you have magnificent storytelling skills, because we're storytelling in business all day long. We're We're doing case studies. I call them case stories. We're doing data storytelling, which can bore people to death if you don't do it right. And I just realized, like, I have seen so much success with teaching people in my workshops how to become more vivid storytellers, and that they're creating these mind movies, as I like to call it, that the book would be a tool to help more people be able to improve and feel more comfortable and honor who they are with their pearls of wisdom, which is what your stories are all about. So it is definitely, not only a business-driven decision to share this information and work in it, but it's so heart-driven because so many people everybody has stories, everybody, but we haven't really been taught how to tell a story. It's like we're taught how to write one, how to analyze one in school, but to tell one, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just feel very passionate about it.
I love it. And you're right. So many presentations and the way we are taught in corporate America, it's very driven by data and numbers and information, and it's hard to take all that in or connect with it. So I love that you've created a way for people to really connect powerfully and vividly and impactfully with people, and that you've elected to lean in and bring this book to the world. So I'd love for you to share, we keep calling it this book or the book, so I'd love for you to share the title of your beautiful book and just a little bit about it, including I'd love for you to share a little bit of why the cover is designed the way it is as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the book's called The Storyteller's Mind Movie. And the subtitle is then Become an Emotionally Connected Leader Through the Power of Your Storytelling. And it's inspired to reach senior executives. It's also for entrepreneurs going for capital raising. And it does talk to a lot of people who swim every day, or as I like to say, work out every day in analytics, because that's where most of the presentations, as you said, we put so much data in. And when you are exercising your neocortex, which is where you're looking at analytics, it's not emotional. It is not an emotional decision. We are looking at it, analyzing it. And so the limbic system of the brain is where we have our colorful, our story, our narrative. And I'm always telling my clients, I'm like, you need to go work out in the limbic system gym every day a little bit more deliberately, because we've got to get the heart behind the chart, which is where your stories are going to come in. So the cover is, I love my cover. The cover was designed by Quincy Emerson. It's an original character. But what we were doing is there's this camera figure, and it's wearing a suit, and it's at a podium, and it's talking out at the audience, and it's telling a story, which is actually the very first story that is in the book. So I have like 20 executives that are sharing stories, just like you, people like you, and in this book, or on the cover, the speaker is telling a story, and then you can see thought bubbles in the heads of the audience. And this story happens to have a lot of helicopters and drones and winds and things like that. And you'll see that each person is having a different picture in their mind. So a really, really good storyteller, a mind movie maker, will make it so clear that you can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can smell it. And when I've told Caleb Carr's story personally, I'll ask the audience, what'd you see? And one guy goes, everything. I heard the pine needles under my feet. I could smell the rain. I tasted his tears when the guy died. It's like very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And so we wanted the cover to be playful and yet drive our message home of what we were trying to do. Because a lot of people get very stressed out about, quote unquote, public speaking. It scares them. But when you say, no, you're going to do a presentation, you're going to tell stories in it, they're like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. Okay, that sounds better. So I didn't want to have like a serious business cover book. I wanted this to be more inviting. So it's bright orange and everything. I love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. And those listeners that are listening, I think it's great to be thinking about, those of you who are writers, how are you designing your cover? What are you thinking about? What are you wanting it to capture? and illustrate from your book. And I feel like Melissa just really gave us, she was so clear on what she was wanting the cover to do, and she loves it. And I believe every author should feel that way about your cover. That's the container of your book. So don't settle in that area. Really create something, lean into something that is the right container for your book to build that bridge to your audience that you're looking to reach with it and your message. So you have shared a little bit about your audience and who you're reaching with this book and who you want to help with their messages. And as it has rippled out into the world, I'm so curious to see, one, what your intention was bringing it forward to share it with the world. Two, what you've seen happen as it's rippled out into the world to show those connections being made.
Oh, great question. Well, my mission personally is I want to create millions of amazing storytellers in business across the globe. Because can you imagine how great it would be to work at a company where the senior level is performing a town hall or all hands and they're highlighting maybe an employee that saved the day, and then they can tell that story so clearly that like the employee's just like, oh my gosh, I guess I am a rock star. And everyone's looking at them going, you're a rock star, because the senior level leadership took the time to learn how to tell the story. Because when you think about it, in business, most of the stories that we tell, we weren't even there for. You know, we weren't necessarily the founder, so we have to tell the founder story. And I want people to learn, how do you tell your founder story? How do you tell a case study and turn it into a case story? And really, you know, I can't serve the entire world personally. There's only 24 hours in a day, but my book can definitely speed that up, right? Because it's really hands-on. Like, it's not a book that's just philosophically talking about why storytelling is important. There are plenty of books about that. I don't think that's the argument, right? I don't think it's like, storytelling, who needs it? I mean, I don't think anyone would say that, but how do you do it? Mm-hmm. How do you do it so that you stand out from everybody in your competition, or you come together as an organization and now you have an army of storytellers in C-suite, sales, marketing. Everyone understands, look, we got to use our voice. We got to make people see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. We got to do this better. And so the book can do that. It is very, very hands-on. I've got like processes because, you know, it's business. So I have process 1, story mining and finding your stories, et cetera. You know, process 2, story crafting. How do you craft a story so it doesn't meander, right? So it's because most people do that. They're like all over the place. And one of my superpowers actually is that I can hear someone tell a story and it's kind of all over the place. And then I can right away, right before their eyes, because of my improv, create their story into a mind movie right there. It's a little harder to do that in a book, but I do give you all of the steps so that you can start to understand it. The audiobook will really show it, though. So.
Exactly. Thank you. I was just going there. That's so perfect that you said that because you have released your book in multiple formats to really support people in different ways. And so I know it's out in Kindle, paperback, softcover, hardcover, and that the Audible is in process. And you're doing something really unique with your Audible and who you have and how you have the voices coming forward. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, and it's so much fun, I got to say. So, being an actor, it's really fun for me to be reading my own words. You know, it's fun. And so I'll be teaching the course, my method. But there's about 20 execs that have shared stories with me over the course of years working with them. So, of course, they made it into the book. So there's lots of people just like you and me out there that you can see these stories. But when we're doing the audible, because this is a business book, a lot of people like to listen to books while they're driving. They've got long commutes or whatever. You will hear the voice when it's time for a story of that leader. So it won't just be me. So I won't bore you, y'all. There will be a variety of executives that are contributing, and it is so much fun right now because their audios are coming in, and it's just it's going to be very flavorful.
I love it. I don't think you would ever be boring, Melissa.
I aim not to be boring.
I love what you're creating with it, and I think it's so powerful. All of our listeners today, those of you who are looking to bring your book forward, you want to think about what different formats, how can it come alive in different ways to reach different people. So I love the creativity that Melissa's bringing into it, and actually having those stories come alive in those executive voices. How powerful is that? So lots of different ways you can look at bringing your books forward. We are getting ready to go to our break here, our first break of the show. And I want to invite you to use these 2 minutes to just think about some of what Melissa has shared. What's kind of bubbling up within you? What are some things you can do? Perhaps it's leaning in and getting a copy of this dynamic book. How important it is that we're able to tell stories well and make that connection. So I encourage you to take a couple moments, think about what Melissa has shared, stay very present, and we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that opportunity to really think about what's sparking within you as Melissa has shared some of her wisdom and insights and describing her cover and just all the different ways she's supporting the reader in leaning into her book and really being served in powerful ways. Great insights, great tips and things to think about on our own journey. How are we telling stories? How are we bringing our transformational content, information, and work forward? And I love how Melissa's been able to make hers come alive and be so impactful in so many ways. And just to give you an example, when she released her book, it became not only a bestseller or a #1 bestseller or an international bestseller, it became a #1 international bestseller, reaching best-selling status in 5 countries, the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and Germany, reaching 55 best-selling categories, with 13 of them ranking #1. Huge accomplishment. Congratulations again, Melissa. Huge.
Thank you. That feels good. You know what it was? It was very validating that the content, I mean, I made my job up 4 years ago. I was like, I got to use my sales, my marketing, and all my startup experience and my acting some way, somehow it has to blend. So to see the book being embraced by people who have been just like me or are just like me right now, that was really wonderful. So thank you to those countries. Thank you to those people who have purchased the book so far. And may we just be getting started.
Beautiful. I love that. And I know it's just getting started as it's rippling out into the world. And I have a question. So if we reflect back, because we're looking at where we are today, the book's being released out into the world, it's rippling out in different formats. But if I were to rewind and go back in time a little bit, and you had this idea about the book, what helped you go from idea, this is amazing work, I think I want to write a book, to actually doing it and bringing it forward? Was there something that helped you go from idea to reality?
Yes. Well, I like to work from kind of my gut instinct. As you know, it's gut instinct made it to a character in my book. But I think it's my higher power, and I'm listening. And I always wanted to write a book, but it was always like, what would I write about? Like, I don't know what I'd write about. And I knew it wasn't going to be fiction. I have so much respect for fiction writers. But it just hit me one day. It was like, oh my gosh, of course, I can write my workshop. Because I knew my workshop was going very well, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm a storytelling coach. I got to have a book. I have to have a book. And so when I realized that I could structure the book based on a lot of the way my workshops go, that would be great. But the book actually brings even more forward because there's only so much you can do in 4 hours for a corporate workshop. But it definitely works. People get very, very excited and they get very entertained, or as I'd like to say, edutained, because we're educating them on why this matters. And I get into that quite a bit with the book. But yeah, to just build my process from the workshop was really fun. But what was really fun was when gut instinct would take over the keyboard. And I was writing things that I hadn't even done in workshops yet that you'll find in the book, like the life chapters section where I'm talking about the different life chapters that we have. So, you know, what were we like when we were teenagers, and what were the pivotal moments as a teen that maybe even indicated your career choice? And then what was it like in your 20s? And I just do a whole bunch of little story prompts, but they were really fun to read. And then all of a sudden, little jokes started weaving through the decades. So I might have said that you had a crush on someone in your 20s, and then by the 50s, you're looking them up because you just gotten divorced. They don't remember you. You know, like there's a lot of fun things that I think happen in different life stages. And so that was a part of really a fun moment when I was writing the book. It was just, I guess maybe all the caffeine I was drinking at the coffee houses, but it definitely was pouring out of me.
I love it. And I love how you help people come up with ideas. And sometimes I think we make it harder than it needs to be. And you have so many ways in your book that you're helping people. Here's a place to start. Here's a place to go back to capture some of that. Here's how to structure it. Here's what you can do to make a keynote really powerful. Like you pull in all of this as people go through the book, a way to create stories, to organize them in a way that can really serve listeners and connect in powerful ways. So I think it's just a fabulous book. Highly recommend it. Very excited that it's absolutely, you're welcome. That's rippling out so powerfully. And I love that you didn't just leave it as an idea, because that happens. Someday we're going to write a book that you were able to actually bring it forward and harness what you have done in the workshop space to help bring it forward, and then letting gut instinct join in and create more and more.
I love gut instinct.
So powerful. I love it. So do you have a tip that you would give our listeners today who are thinking someday I'm going to write a book, or I've been working on a book for a while? Do you have a tip that can help them bring it forward?
Well, I think, and I teach this to all of my clients, you know, first off, relax. Allow it to come out, right? You might be, you know, maybe you just need a story prompt. You know, it could be like, when was a pivotal moment you realized you were resilient, right? And that could be a story that just starts bubbling up. And I would say set your timer for 5 or 10 minutes and just write. Let it out. Don't try to stop it. Don't try to edit. It's just between you and the paper or the keyboard. But that's where I think some people just freeze up. They start to overthink. They start to get the imposter syndrome. And it's like, no, your stories matter. Your thoughts matter. Allow those characters in your stories, be it nonfiction or fiction, come alive. Let us see them and hear them and smell them and taste them, all the stuff that I've talked about. So I think it's really important because we're human beings and we have imagination, right? And when you allow it to come out and not fight it, it comes out and it's so joyous. It's so joyous. There's pages in my own book. I'm like, I wrote that? Wow. I mean, I was really in the zone. I was really, really in the zone. Process 2 in my book is really very, like a lot of tips in how you would write your stories. Now, these would probably be your nonfiction stories, but I don't see why it can't apply to even when you're creating a fiction character and a story. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Beautiful. So there are additional tips and support they can find in your book as well, which is brilliant. I love it. And I'd love for you to share. We've given some insight and shares of some of the sections in your book and a little bit of a taste, but I know you've also prepared a fabulous reading for us too. I'd love to share that with our listeners so they get a little bit of a taste of your book, a little bit of its heartbeat and personality.
Okay, sure. That would be my pleasure. So as I was sharing, this is actually in the front of the book, this particular piece that I'm going to be reading. It's just a short one. But it was my genuine reaction when I heard a very, very strong storyteller tell a story, and I got inspired and was like, oh my gosh, people in the world need how to do this. And so it's also the story that you see the cover. So after Caleb Carr from Vita Inclinata tells his most beautiful and heart-wrenching yet inspirational story about how he started and why he started this company. And he's doing amazing things all over the planet with drone technology to save lives. This is what I wrote after he finishes his story. I heard Caleb Carr's founder story retold to me after he had won the Seattle University's business plan competition. He's since won more. His story was so compelling that I became the fourth investor during the family and friends round of capital raising. I didn't look at a cap table or any business plan. It was his powerful and vivid story that got me so emotionally connected to his vision, so much so that I wrote a check. Vita Inclinata is now valued at over $300 million, and Caleb is still telling this story, among many others, as he travels his Vita Inclinata path. His natural storytelling skills help him be an emotionally connected leader as it balances out his presentations with vivid storytelling and the blending in of data that is always needed in his work. That aha moment is what gave me the inspiration to found Story Fruition, to help more business professionals shine like Caleb. My life mission is to create millions of brilliant business storytellers, and may that be you.
Beautiful. I love it. And how
Thank
powerful, you're welcome, how powerful that story was to move you in such an amazing way. And I was reflecting as you were sharing. Now, listeners, you have to get the book to hear his story and what was shared.
Mm-hmm.
But your story of your response to his story is very compelling as well. And I love that. And that you're moved so powerfully to become a part of the work that they're doing and to contribute. How incredible it would be if we all had that ability to tell a story that we could connect with the people we were trying to connect with and move them into powerful action. I think that's incredible. And I love that your book and your work does that and helps people.
Thank you. I have one more tip. Can I give it one more tip?
Please. Oh, one more tip. Absolutely. Bring it.
Yeah. So because I was trained in acting, an actor is trained that the audience is everything, right? That we know that we're creating little mind movies in their head for 2 hours, and everyone's listening, and as they're listening, they're writing their own little stories about the characters and their relationships, and that's what's happening. And so I think when any of your listeners are thinking about this, get inside the minds of the audience more. Get out of your own mind, right? Because that's where all the chatter, like, I'm boring, I'm not interesting, this is just going to meander. And really think about the power that you have with your own words to influence what goes on in my head. When you really think about how powerful that is, it's magical. So as a speaker, as a storyteller, as a presenter, they're all the same to me. Get outside of yourself and get inside the minds of your listeners and listen to yourself as well as look at your deck. Take a look at your slides. Are you data dumping? Are you overwhelming them? And are they zoning out because you just threw everything at them at once and they don't know what to look at? Or are you controlling it? Are you helping them see your vision and see your stories with you? And if they're engaged and they're asking questions, the answer is yes, you are. And congratulations. But if they're kind of like, no questions, thanks, they may have zoned out, and that's on you. That's on you as a leader. So again, that's another aspect to the book that I think is important, is that I really get into your visuals as much as your words. But I hope that helps a lot of people out there.
Absolutely. I think that helps our speakers and it helps our listeners that are called to speak and share and write. It helps on multiple levels. I love it. So thank you so
Great.
much for your generosity today and for sharing so deeply and powerfully with us. And I would love for you to share the full title of your book, where they can get it. So anyone that's feeling this pull, this lean in, they know where to go and how to get a copy, as well as what is the best way for them to connect in with you and go deeper.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So the book is called The Storyteller's Mind Movie. Become an emotionally connected leader through your storytelling skills. And it's available now on Amazon, and it'll soon be digitally. It'll be available soon everywhere, and also on the shelves. Now, there's also going to be with the book. It's kind of a 3-part opportunity if you really get serious. So there's the book, and then there will be a companion journal where I have story prompts in there, and you can just set that timer for 5 minutes and see what comes out. And some of those stories you're going to want to craft. So I teach you how to craft it using the story arcs that I teach, as well as storyboarding, which is your mind movie map. It's scene by scene, and you'll learn how to not meander because you got this beautiful map that you know where you're going to keep your story crisp and on course. And then the audio. The audio will be coming out in probably the spring. It will be coming out in the spring. So that's what's ahead, and that's how you can find me. And if you're interested, though, and you're like, I think I want to talk to Story Fruition, then simply go to www.storyfruition, FRUITION, info.com. And that will take you to a landing page, just a few questions, just so I can kind of get to know who you are and what you're seeking, because some people want, investor pitch guidance, because that's a big part of my business. My company's actually helped raise over $75 million to the entrepreneur space since we started. I feel pretty good about. But some people are like, I want to write a keynote. I need help. Or I want to be better on media podcasts because I want to have a story library there. So when they ask me a question like Rebecca's doing to me right now, I have answers and ready to go, and I'm vibrant and great. So that would be nice if I knew a little bit about you, your leadership, and your company. And then you can get on my calendar, and we can have a complimentary talk to really find out what would be the best fit for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Would you mind giving that site one more time?
Yes. Well, to contact us, it's storyfruitioninfo.com. But just go to my site if you want to check out more. You can even see my own storytelling work because I am a storyteller. I actually walk my talk. But you can go to just storyfruition.com and you'll see me and a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate it. I'm so excited for you. And listeners, I encourage you to lean in, learn more. Powerful book to add to the library. I know it'll serve you. And I want to invite each of you to just take a moment at the end of today's show and write down 3 actions you're going to take based on the conversation today. So perhaps it's leaning in and getting a copy of Melissa's book and journal. Maybe it's taking 5 minutes a day to start writing out some of your stories. But take a moment and write down 3 things you're going to do to help you on your journey in bringing your message forward, bringing your book forward, bringing those gifts and talents you've been called to bring to the world, to bring them forward. Be really easy to find. So take some steps to do so. If we can be of any support on the journey, we are happy to do so. I'd love to share with you a series we've created called the Emerging Author Series. That's with an S, emergingauthorseries.com. And it is our gift to you today to support you on your journey. It includes 9 different ebooks that answer most of the frequently asked questions we get around publishing, writing. What does launching mean versus releasing my book? What are myths and truths in the industry? So it shares all that type of information. So I encourage you to check it out, emergingauthorseries.com, and it'll put you on our list as well so we can stay in touch. I hope you have an amazing week. Keep writing, keep reading, and continue to take those powerful steps forward. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.